Beneath the glitz and glamour of Hollywood's golden era lies a darker, often unspoken reality. Many of its most iconic figures silently battled alcohol addiction. While some managed to keep their careers on track, others saw their lives and careers unravel due to their drinking. Here are some of the most notorious alcoholics in Hollywood history.
What are you all staring at?
I can't tell you what I'm drinking because I will offend somebody.
I can tell you it's a bourbon, that's all. It's a bourbon.
First on the list is Frank Sinatra. Beyond being one of the most iconic singers of his generation, Sinatra was well known for his intense alcohol addiction. Indeed, sources revealed that he had a strong preference for Jack Daniels, which he enjoyed at any time of the day. Sinatra was particular about his drink: 4 ice cubes, 2 fingers of Jack, and a splash of water in a classic rocks glass. Rumor has it he consumed an entire bottle of Jack Daniels daily, much to his doctor's astonishment. Sinatra's life was a perpetual spectacle, reflected in the classic films he starred in. However, when he drank, his temperament could change dramatically, leading to clashes with journalists and other cast members. His ex-wife even reportedly hid herself in their room after seeing him drink gin, which often led to aggressiveness. To understand the extent of his addiction, consider that Sinatra and his close friends jokingly referred to themselves as the American Olympic Drinking Squad. Sinatra passed away in 1998 at the age of 82, leaving behind a legacy deeply intertwined with his love of booze. Fittingly, he was laid to rest with a bottle of Jack Daniels in his casket, a testament to his long-standing affection for the beloved whiskey.
Being an alcoholic, I'm not quite sure that I am one, but if I'm not one, I'm very near. I'm right on the edge of being one. But it is no laughing matter.
Richard Burton. Can you believe that during the height of his drunkenness in the 1970s, Richard Burton consumed 2 to 3 bottles of vodka every day? His openly excessive drinking earned him a notorious reputation in Hollywood's golden age, with little regard for his public image. In fact, he once shamelessly assured a director that he would refrain from drinking on their project, only to clarify that this meant restricting himself to just 1 bottle of vodka per day. Burton even claimed that he considered himself sober after drinking 2 bottles. Despite his personal troubles, Burton delivered an outstanding performance in the 1966 film Who's Afraid of Virginia Woolf? His remarkable portrayal earned him an Oscar nomination, but his drinking continued to torment him. This was evident during the making of The Klansman, when he had to film several sequences while seated or lying down due to his poor balance. After filming concluded, Burton bravely checked himself into a lockdown recovery center to tackle his addiction. Amid a turbulent divorce from Elizabeth Taylor, he eventually committed to sobriety. Sadly, the years of heavy drinking had already taken their toll, and Burton died of liver cirrhosis and renal failure in 1984. Joan Crawford. After marrying the CEO of PepsiCo, Joan Crawford was appointed as the company's official ambassador, leveraging her celebrity status to benefit the business. The perks that came with this role were astonishing, and Crawford made sure to take full advantage of them. As Pepsi's ambassador, Crawford embarked on global tours with a rather unique set of beverage requests. At each stop, she demanded 2/5 of Smirnoff vodka, 1/5 of Old Forester bourbon, 1/5 of scotch, 1/5 of Beefeater gin, 2 bottles of champagne, and naturally a case of Pepsi. However, it was clear that Pepsi was not her drink of choice. She would barely touch the soda, opting instead to indulge in her preferred alcohol, Leonard Nimoy. Best known for his role as Mr. Spock, Leonard Nimoy struggled with alcohol addiction while filming the legendary Star Trek series. Nimoy himself admitted that he used alcohol to cope with the difficult and long days on set. His co-star, William Shatner, remarked that Nimoy used alcohol as a shield against the enormous expectations of fame. What began as one drink grew into a pattern of addiction, fueled by his predisposition for addictive behavior. Fortunately, Nimoy recognized the need for treatment and sought rehabilitation to address his alcoholism after filming for Star Trek concluded. Sadly, his initial efforts to conquer his addiction were unsuccessful. Despite his determination, Nimoy eventually succumbed to another habit: smoking. This ultimately led to his death at the age of 83. While his legacy as Mr. Spock endures, his personal challenges serve as a sobering reminder of the real hardships that underpin the beloved characters we admire. Elizabeth Taylor. Elizabeth Taylor was renowned for her beauty and brilliance during Hollywood's golden age. Despite her success, she battled drinking and opioid addiction for many years. In 1983, she made headlines as the first celebrity to willingly seek treatment at the Betty Ford Center. Founded by Betty Ford, the wife of then U.S. President Gerald Ford, this rehabilitation institution was created to assist those struggling with addiction. Inspired by Betty Ford's own recovery journey, Taylor's brave decision to address her addiction marked a turning point in her life and had a profound impact on many others secretly battling similar issues. By publicly acknowledging her struggles and seeking treatment, Taylor helped to destigmatize addiction and illuminate the path to recovery. Freed from addiction, Taylor found a new purpose beyond acting, becoming a prominent advocate for AIDS awareness, prevention, and research. She used her celebrity and influence to raise awareness and funds for research and treatment initiatives. Elizabeth Taylor's journey from addiction to activism represents a transformation from darkness to light, inspiring millions to seek help and providing hope to those in need. Carrie Grant. Carrie Grant, famed for his suave on-screen demeanor, struggled with alcoholism in the 1950s and sought therapy to overcome it. His path to recovery took an unexpected turn when his doctor recommended LSD, a then-new treatment. Grant found solace and enlightenment in LSD-induced psychedelic experiences, embracing the profound journeys they offered. He even introduced LSD to some of his friends, including Judy Balaban, the daughter of Paramount's president, who remarked, "I figured if it was good enough for Cary Grant, it was good enough for me." Grant is estimated to have undergone approximately 100 sessions of LSD therapy as part of his treatment. Though unconventional, this approach transformed his outlook on life and significantly improved his overall well-being. Grant lived a peaceful life until his death at the age of 82, leaving behind a legacy that extended beyond the silver screen to encompass his personal triumph over addiction.
Why do you drink?
Because of the finest people that I've ever met in my life are in pubs.
Oliver Reed had a captivating presence in cinema, enthralling viewers with his portrayals of infamous villains. Known for his striking blue eyes and facial scars, acquired after a drunken bar brawl, Reed's exceptional acting talents were often overshadowed by his alcoholism. Reed rose to prominence for his roles in the Three Musketeers trilogy, Oliver Twist, Treasure Island, and Gladiator, among 120 other films. Sadly, he died after completing his work on Gladiator following a drinking competition with Royal Navy men. Before his decline, Reed was one of Hollywood's most sought-after actors. Ridley Scott personally chose Reed for the legendary role of Proximo in Gladiator, but only on the condition that he abstained from alcohol during filming. However, Reed's life took a dramatic turn after a fight that left him needing 63 stitches. The resulting permanent scar made him fear for his career, but he continued acting and indulging in his love for being the life of the party. One evening, before finishing his last film, Gladiator, Reed visited a pub and drank 8 bottles of beer, 3 bottles of rum, and several shots of whiskey. Unfortunately, he suffered a heart attack and died shortly afterward. Reflecting on his tumultuous life, Reed often cited one regret: not having emptied every pub and not having slept with every woman in the world. Michael Landon. Michael Landon, well known for his classic roles in Bonanza and Little House on the Prairie, epitomized the wholesome, respected character on television for decades. However, beneath this facade lay a battle with alcohol and pill addiction, casting a shadow over his flawless image. While his colleagues were somewhat aware of his drinking habits, they had no idea of the extent. Landon would secretly mix whiskey into his coffee and vodka into other beverages, seamlessly integrating his addiction into his daily routine. Even after filming, he would continue to drink heavily at the local pub. Melissa Gilbert, who portrayed his on-screen daughter in Little House on the Prairie, recalled being unaware of Landon's hidden vodka sipping from his coffee mug. She remarked, I'm sure he's one reason why I almost always picked men who smelled like alcohol. In addition to his alcohol and painkiller addiction, Landon smoked an astonishing 4 packs of unfiltered cigarettes per day, likely contributing to the onset of pancreatic cancer, which eventually claimed his life at the young age of 54.
But you just remember, a drink never hurt nobody at all. You just remember the great words of Mr. Joey Lewis. He says, "You're not drunk if you can lay on the floor without holding on."
Dean Martin was the epitome of cool, leading everyone to assume he was a heavy drinker. He once stated, "I feel sorry for people who don't drink because when they wake up in the morning, that's as good as they're going to feel all day." Much of Martin's on-stage persona revolved around the image of a cheerful, genial drinker. However, his daughter and close friends revealed that it was all an act, with Martin often sipping apple juice from his glass. The mere presence of a drink and a smoke elevated his legendary status, making men want to emulate him and women desire his company. Despite his public image, Martin was a dedicated parent who was always home for dinner, usually limiting himself to 1 drink each evening with his wife. Though his career was heavily associated with alcohol, Martin skillfully balanced indulgence and restraint, knowing when to pull back. He passed away in 1995 at the age of 78, leaving behind a legacy of charm and charisma that extended beyond his stage persona. Barbarapton. Barbarapton was a rising star in the early 1950s, a B-list actress linked to prominent figures like Bob Hope and her husband Franchot Tone. Originally from Minnesota, she moved to Hollywood and quickly became one of the most recognized stars of the 1940s and 50s, appearing alongside renowned actors such as James Cagney, Gary Cooper, and Gregory Peck. However, her career took a downturn as she became addicted to alcohol, leading to the loss of her beauty, livelihood, and multiple run-ins with the law due to public drunkenness. She even resorted to issuing bogus checks and engaging in prostitution. Payton's personal life was tumultuous, filled with affairs, violent relationships, theft, and numerous encounters with the police. In the 1960s, her drinking worsened, resulting in a miserable existence. She lost custody of her child due to her lifestyle and was charged with public intoxication in 1962 after being found sleeping at a Sunset Boulevard bus station in a coat and bathing suit. She was later arrested again for disorderly conduct while intoxicated at a raucous afternoon party. Tragically, she died at the age of 39 from heart and liver disease. John Barrymore. Perhaps this is why he excelled in his roles. Although most renowned for his outstanding renditions of Shakespearean parts and his riveting portrayal of Mr. Hyde, his difficult background and subsequent years exacerbated his drinking issue. In fact, his second wife once found him trying to drink her perfume, highlighting the severity of his addiction. In 1933, he starred in George Cukor's popular comedy film, Dinner at 8, portraying one of his first drunken roles as an alcoholic actor. Unfortunately, his career deteriorated tremendously over the years due to his continuous alcoholism. The negative impact on his memory forced him to rely on cue cards to finish his roles, marking the decline of his professional career. Sadly, Barrymore died at the age of 60, eventually succumbing to drinking-related diseases. Peter O'Toole. It's hard to believe that someone with dazzling, brilliant blue eyes like Peter O'Toole could be one of Hollywood's most notorious drinkers. In a candid interview with David Letterman, O'Toole described his drinking habits in relation to his generation's cultural standards, which emphasized alcohol intake regardless of everyday commitments. He even claimed that booze helped him perform better on screen. One notable incident occurred during the making of Lawrence of Arabia, particularly the camel raid scene. Both O'Toole and his co-star Omar Sharif were afraid of camels and chose to remain intoxicated during the performance. This choice, often dubbed liquid courage, speaks to the lengths actors might go to overcome their fears. When asked about it, O'Toole laughed and admitted he couldn't remember much about the scene because he was so drunk. At least he didn't forget his lines, right? Robert Shaw. The production of Jaws in 1975 was notoriously chaotic. the cast faced numerous challenges, including aggressive sharks, rough seas, and tension among castmates. For instance, Robert Shaw exacerbated tensions on set by continuously drinking scotch throughout the long filming sessions, leading to strained relations with his co-star Richard Dreyfuss. Shaw's persistent inebriation posed a recurring problem during production, except for one critical sequence in which his character is depicted as drunk. That scene surely was an easy take, right? Anyways, Dreyfuss openly expressed his preference to see his co-star sober, emphasizing his dislike for Shaw's intoxicated state. On one occasion, Dreyfuss had had enough and took it upon himself to dispose of a glass of alcohol from Shaw's hand, tossing it into the ocean. Jan Michael Vincent. Jan Michael Vincent was an icon in Hollywood, known for his striking appearance and his role in the popular TV series Airwolf. It's hard to believe he was once the epitome of charm in his prime. His career began with an almost fairy tale meeting when he caught the attention of a film scout while serving in the California Army National Guard. This chance encounter catapulted him to quick success, allowing him to work alongside prominent performers such as Robert Conrad, Rock Hudson, Charles Bronson, John Wayne, Burt Reynolds, and Robert Mitchum. However, what was supposed to be a career with immense potential ended tragically. Vincent's success was marred by alcohol and drug use, leading him down a destructive path. Despite achieving one of the biggest milestones in his career by earning a record-breaking paycheck for his role on Airwolf, Vincent's enormous wealth enabled him to indulge in dangerous addictions such as cocaine and alcohol. During the show's second and third seasons, his addictions became increasingly apparent, causing production delays and financial overruns, ultimately leading to the show's sudden cancellation. Reports emerged of Vincent being arrested for drunk driving and involved in a car crash resulting in injuries such as a broken back and the loss of a leg. Additionally, there were records of domestic violence toward his girlfriend. As time passed, his once perfect looks and charming demeanor suffered from premature aging due to substance abuse. Vincent's story serves as a cautionary tale about the destructive consequences of addiction in the entertainment industry. Errol Flynn. Errol Flynn epitomized charm and machismo, leaving an indelible mark with his iconic roles as the swashbuckling hero in films like Robin Hood and Captain Blood. Yet, behind the scenes, his life was a tumultuous journey of decadence, depravity, and relentless adventure. This infamous ladies' man reveled in his image as a seductive rogue, a fearless warrior, a cocaine enthusiast, and an avid lover of alcohol. Flynn's escapades weren't confined to clinking drinks with Fidel Castro in Cuba. They extended to his Malibu bachelor pad, which he shared with fellow actor David Niven. Dubbed Cirrhosis by the Sea due to the copious amounts of alcohol consumed aboard his private boat, Flynn's penchant for excess knew no bounds. Reports abound of wild parties fueled by sex, alcohol, and cocaine, with Flynn often staggering onto film sets inebriated. However, all excesses have consequences, and Flynn's pleasure was abruptly curtailed when he collapsed in an elevator in his early 30s. A medical examination revealed irreparable damage to his heart and lungs, ultimately leading to his demise from a heart attack at the age of 50. Humphrey Bogart. Humphrey Bogart, revered as one of the greatest male actors in American cinema history, earned acclaim for his frequent Academy Award nominations and stellar performances in timeless classics. Yet, in his personal life, he was known for his heavy drinking habits. According to his acquaintances, Bogart was typically pleasant until around 11:30 p.m., after which he transformed into a different persona, often becoming furious, stubborn, or even violent. As his illustrious career progressed, his drinking began to affect his work. He frequently arrived on set inebriated or nursing a hangover, and there were instances where he refused to work, opting instead to ride a bicycle around the Warner Brothers studios in his pajamas. During the filming of Sahara, Bogart allegedly refused to leave his dressing room until his then-wife, Mayo Methot, brought him a thermos filled with martinis. His penchant for intoxication extended beyond work, He was known to frequently indulge in heavy drinking, even causing disruptions in public places. Despite hobnobbing with the likes of Richard Burton and Frank Sinatra, Bogart's drinking often landed him in trouble, leading to his eventual banishment from pubs, taverns, and clubs. His lifelong habits of heavy drinking and smoking took a toll on his health, and he was diagnosed with cancer in 1956, succumbing to the illness shortly after. Spencer Tracy. Alcohol played a significant role in the troubled life of iconic actor Spencer Tracy, as evidenced by multiple mentions throughout his biography by James Curtis. Tracy's struggle with alcohol was damaging and well documented. Medical records from a 1942 visit to Johns Hopkins shed light on Tracy's drinking history, revealing his tendency to indulge in alcoholic binges after completing a film, lasting around a week or 10 days every 8 months. Despite understanding the consequences, Tracy found himself unable to resist the allure of alcohol. Tracy's remorse over his drinking fueled his destructive behavior, leading him to isolate himself in luxurious hotels and skip engagements, causing frustration to those around him. Even after periods of abstinence, Tracy admitted to craving martinis whenever he encountered them. His friend, director Joseph Mankiewicz, acknowledged Tracy's shame and its significance in his battle with alcoholism. Tracy's struggle was marked by intense sorrow, humiliation, and self-inflicted scars from his addiction, leaving a lasting impact on his life and career. W.C. Fields. William Claude Dukenfield, better known as W.C. Fields, was a celebrated actor and one of America's finest comedians. Renowned for his impeccable timing and hilarious grumpiness, he seamlessly melded his real-life persona with his on-screen characters. His distinctive nasal voice, outgoing personality, and fondness for drink further solidified his status as a comedic legend. Fields achieved fame in his mid-50s, but his life was nearly cut short a few years later due to his excessive drinking habits. Reports suggest he consumed more than 2 quarts of gin daily, leading to serious health issues such as delirium tremens. Despite his persistent alcoholism, Fields managed to star in films like Poppy, 1936, and The Big Broadcast, 1938. However, Paramount eventually terminated his contract. Following a significant period of recuperation, Fields found solace and success on the popular radio show Chase and Sanborn Hour in 1937. This allowed him to maintain his celebrity status while his health recovered, eventually paving the way for his return to cinema. However, his health continued to deteriorate, and he spent the last 22 months of his life at the Lawson Cena Sanatorium in Pasadena, California. On Christmas Day in 1946, Fields, who famously disliked the holiday, suffered a catastrophic gastrointestinal hemorrhage and passed away at the age of 66. If you like such kind of videos, consider subscribing, and remember to go easy on the booze.